Alrighty, folks. So this is going to be part 3 of the fire alarm comparison series. In the first 2 parts, I did Simplex T-bars and BG12s. So now I'm going to do all of my flip face pull stations. These, if you don't know, these are the kind that are on the wall like this, and when you pull them, the whole front flips down like this. And they've got a button inside, and usually have a tab or a spring or something inside here that holds the key lock in place. So the pull station stays shut. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm using the wrong key, which is why it does not work. Where's the firelight key? There it is. So, right here is my Firelight BG8. Just a bog standard, regular Firelight BG8. These things are fairly common. They're not as common as like BG12s or stuff like that, but they are fairly common. So, here's this particular one. It pulls like this. And on the inside, you can see model number BG8. And it's UL listed. The sticker's kind of ripped, but this was the second pull station that I ever got. So this one's kind of beat up. I'd like to get another one that's in a little bit better shape. But for now, I have this one that's kind of rough, but that's okay. June 2nd, 2014. Got the patent numbers and all that in there. And the accepted for use, City of New York, Department of Buildings. Because New York likes to be weird about their fire alarms. So on the back of it right here, you can see literally all that's back here is a switch with pigtail wires. Some of these had terminal blocks. Matter of fact, I have some with terminal blocks back here. That's what these 2 empty holes are for. And I think these 2 also. These 2 are to hold the tab on. These top 2 are for if you have screw terminals, which some of these do. But this particular one does not, because it's just a regular BG8. Firelight BG8. So, there's that one. And the red tape is because the switch is kind of messed up. So I kind of had to sort of rig it back together. But it works, and that's okay. So, it was my second pull station I ever had, so I'm alright with it. So, the next pull station that's extremely similar to this is this. This is a notifier version of it, and this one's silver. And it's a BG1 TS. Now, on this particular model, they put the screw terminals in the bottom holes along with the tabs. So I'm going to pull this. And as you can see, this one says FM approved in here on the inside right here. The Firelight one does not say that. And they also made red versions of these that looked exactly like this, except it said notifier. But this particular one is a silver one. The point behind these is if you have a red wall, NFPA says you have to have at least like a 3-inch border around the pull station that's a different color. So what you see a lot is red pull stations with like paint around them. So these are to solve that problem, to make it look a little bit better. This one takes the notifier key, and as you can see, it's got screw terminals on the back of it instead of just the pigtails. And this is what the button's supposed to look like. They all have the same basic design of switch. So this one's just hooked to screw terminals, which I do like better. They've got a button right there. This particular one was made in 2000, I believe. December 6, 2000. That's what I think that would mean. This is a BG8 TS. The TS means terminals and silver is what I would assume that to mean. The red one is BG1R. So here's this. It's pretty much identical to the BG8. So there's that. The next one I have is another one of these, except it's kind of different looking, and I don't really know why. But here's this one. This came from SER Safety, by the way. And for whatever odd reason, it's got the fire lettering over here above the F instead of the I. I've never seen one like this before, except for the ones that he had. This is also a BG1 TS, and it's a little bit harder to pull. This tab's a little bit stiffer. This one also says, it's hard to see, but it says TS right there. This one has a date code of possibly 91. I don't know if that's 91 or 2001. It almost looks like a 91. But maybe it's 2001. I don't know. But it looks slightly older. It's got a different FM sticker in here. But as far as the backs go, they're identical, except for this one's got a little bit of tape residue on it, but the backs are identical on these. What I'm thinking this one is an early, almost a prototype version of this. This one seems a little bit older, and it uses the same key, but it's a little bit different color red too, and it has an older notifier logo than this. This is a newer logo than that, which is what's making me think this is 91 instead of 01. And I think that's right when these came out. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was an early, sort of a prototype version, if you will, of this. The symbol is exactly the same as far as I can tell. But this one's actually a little bit bigger, and the fire alarm lettering is a little bit different, if you'll notice. It's slightly different. These two obviously are the same. But if you can see this one, it's got slightly different lettering, so I don't know what the story behind this one is, really, but it's cool and I like it. So there's that one. The next one I have up is this. This is a notifier, just a regular BG1, no suffix on it or anything. This is the old version of the BG1. This is the newer version. This is basically the successor to one of these. Now these are from the 80s. They have the notifier logo on them from the 80s. This one's a little bit after notifier M-Heart. I think they had already split up at this point. But yeah, this one's a BG1 TS. It has the pigtails. And this one's not polarized either. It's just got 2 black wires. Now these obviously are a lot harder to pull. So I'm going to try to do it with one hand. But they're really hard to pull. There it goes. And you can see these have a spring right here instead of a tab. Other than that, though, they're really not all that different. This one has a big bump right here on the back. I don't really know quite what that's for, but also this has a sticker. When installing route wiring away from sharp projections, edges, and internal components. Just kind of as a reminder. They swapped them to a tab instead of this spring because obviously these are so hard to pull. So, that's why they changed over to this design. The UL sticker's right here too, instead of being there. And here's the tag. Notifier Company, Lincoln, Nebraska. Serial number 75115. And I doubt it's from 1975. So I don't think that's the date code. There's also a hole right here for some strange reason. I don't know whether they had like a 2-stage model or something. They could have. So here's this. Obviously the lock's a little different. It still accepts a modern notifier key though, which is kind of cool. However, it doesn't really work as good. The lock's kind of screwed up. But it does, in fact, take a modern notifier key. So I thought that's kind of cool. And this also has fire lettering on the sides. Some of these did, but not very many. This one also says local fire alarm, so you know it's older, and it does not have the arrows. So yeah, here's one of my old BG ones right here. So the next one I have up is this. This is called a BG1 RS. This one is red. It's basically just the red version of that one. It's also very, very hard to pull. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and just open it. If the key will work. Okay, I had to kind of fiddle with it a little bit, but I got it open. Here's this one on the inside. I think this one is slightly older than this because it has the Notifier M Heart logo. So this is from the like 84 or 85. 84866, maybe from 1984. At least that's a decent guess. And this one would be from like 86 or 87. They're exactly the same on the inside, except for whatever odd reason, this one does not have an FM sticker. Strangely enough. Also, the backs are identical. This one has a sticker the other way around, though. And I had to put a piece of tape on this because it fell off, but it's got the same sticker, it's just turned the other way. So, this tag is different, though. It's a slightly older tag. So that's what it looks like. Somebody hand wrote BNG1RS. So that's what the model is, BNG1RS. 6 to 125 volts. The sticker's laid out the same way, and it's the same patent numbers and everything. This one's just got red writing instead of black writing, which would lead me to believe that it's a little bit older. There's also no UL sticker. So I don't know if it was supposed to have one and does not, or if it wasn't UL approved yet. Probably had one and fell off, if I had to guess. So yeah, obviously it's just basically just the red version of this. They pull the same, they look the same, they work the same. And it also has the fire lettering, which I'll compare these now. You pretend this is a notifier one because they're literally identical. So like, again, the old and the new design. So that's all for the notifier and firelight flip down pull stations that are exactly this type. The next one that I have is this. This is a Silent Night SD500-PS. This particular one's addressable, and you pull it just like this. It's a little different on the inside than a BG8. Here's the BG8, here's the SD500. It takes a Silent Night key, a 1347 key. This pull station, I believe, was still made by Honeywell, but I'm not 100% sure. And it's got the LED right there where it shines through that hole right there on the front. Overall, though, they're pretty much the same design. It's got the pull lettering with the arrows, fire alarm, similar layout. This one says key reset. It's kind of neat. And I don't know how to get that number 9 off of there. This is one of the ones that came from my middle school. Either the middle school or the high school. I can't remember. I think the high school, matter of fact. But it's got a big old number 9 on it, and I don't really know how to get that off. So if anybody has tips of how to get something like that off of there, let me know. But yeah, it pulls the same way. Obviously, no fire lettering on the sides. They kind of did away with that. They also had lift covers for these. Some of them in the school had that. Had the little lift tab on the top. None of mine do, but there were some in the school, but I didn't ever manage to get it before they tore them down. This particular one, like I said, is addressable. As you can see, this is the only addressable ones I have. I've got about 8 of these. Contact and SLC. And there's the module hooked up. All you have to do to run it conventional, though, is just unscrew the wires. Literally, that's all you have to do. And then it's conventional. So, yeah. Silent Night. You can see the tag right here. I believe it's from 2002. SD500 PS. And I believe they still make these too, which is cool. And I think Firelight even still makes these. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they still make them. SD500 PS, ADA compliant, which I guarantee you these aren't because they're so hard to pull, but There's that. And then you can see how the module's held on there with the two screws, or the two kind of rivet looking things, and that screw right there. And then normally when these are on a system, that light would blink every so often. These extra holes over here are for a purpose-made back box for these, but I don't think the high school had those. I think they were just mounted on this on a single gang box. Also, I don't really know what these little tabs, what these little things are for. It may be part of that whole lift thing goes here, but I don't know that to be for sure. So yeah, let me get another one out. Alright, so I just pulled out another one, and this one's slightly newer, and it's actually a little bit different, oddly enough. This one's got the button on the other side for some odd reason. And it's also only got 3 of these tabs instead of the 4. And it also is missing these 2 things. So this one's from 2004 and this is from 2002. So between that time they changed it up a little bit. But as you can see, this actually has the hole where the old style button would have gone. This is actually the same button that's used in these. Or very similar. I think it's more like this. But yeah, the modules also are slightly different. The addressable modules. They're both from the same system though. And this one actually has contact and SLC engraved into the metal, whereas this one just has a sticker. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing to point out about these. Okay, the next one I have out here is the FCI MS6. Now obviously you pull this and the whole front comes down once again. It looks similar to an MS2, but not exactly the same. Up there is an MS2. And obviously, here's an MS6. It's kind of the same design. But there's no fire lettering on the sides. This is a slightly newer one with the newer logo. I'm pretty sure from 1995. The 8th week of 1995. So here's this. Not very hard to pull. It's got the tab right here. And it's got the metal button like BG10s have. It's the exact same button. I think it literally is the exact same button. And it's got this type of thing on the back. And 4 wires, obviously. For installation information, see drawing 9000001. And then obviously the FCI logo with the slightly newer logo, Newton, Massachusetts. And obviously you can just take your FCI key, if I can ever find mine. It's a PK625. There it is. And this just goes right in here and you turn it and it goes back to where you can lock it, and then obviously you can pull it just like that. So yeah, here's the back like I said before. So yeah, not much to this one. Looks kind of like the other ones. They're all kind of the same layout. So the next one I have is this. This is a simplex, but it's not actually a simplex. It's just rebranded by them. It's the, I don't remember the model number, but it's one of these kind of like Mircom pull stations. A lot of people have the Mircom ones. I've seen a few other brands too. But these are kind of interesting. You pull them like that, and obviously, again, the front of it comes all the way down. ULC listed, so I'm pretty sure this is Canadian. It's also got kind of a strange button in it. I don't think I've ever seen this kind of button before. That's what the back looks like. 5106, so I would assume it's 2006. Model MS301C, that's what it is. So it gives you reset instructions right here. Maybe it's 07, I don't know. Optional brake rod. This one you can actually have a brake rod in, which is interesting and cool. There's the holder for it. And you put it in through this little hole in the side. And when you pull it, obviously it breaks the rod. So how you reset this one is you take an Allen key and stick it in this hole. And you've actually got to stick it through here and push down on that tab. And then it locks the pull station. Some of these have a key lock right there, but this particular one is the strange Allen key model. So here's this. Obviously it's got the screw terminals on the back, just a single contact. And it likes to stick open for some strange reason too. So here's that. Kind of uncommon. And the last of the flip down pull stations is this. This is my Notifier LNG 1R. Instead of a BNG, it's an LNG. These are also from the 80s. And the way you pull them is you push in right here and then you pull this old part down. And they've got a metal tab. The sticker fell out, but they've got a metal tab right there. And the same button as the BNG1 or the BG8, as you can see right here. Some of these, I would assume, had screw terminals, judging by this on the back. And also it has this sticker like the old BNG1s have. So this is a BNG1, this is an LNG1 from the same era. Uses the same, just typical notifier key. Stick in there, and you can turn this and reset it. So here's this. To reset, turn key clockwise, close station firmly, turn key counterclockwise and remove. Similar tag, LNG1R, and then it says 88203, so I would assume it's 88, 1988. And it's got the UL thing, just like this one has. Same sticker as this. And the label looks kind of similar too. It's got a slightly different lock. And I do like the fact that it's got a metal tab. Kind of a strange pull station. They did make a really, really rare white version of these, but they're rare as hen's teeth. And this thing's really big too, and hard to mount. Because you got to push that up while you mount it. So it's kind of awkward. And then it's kind of hard to get a screwdriver down in there. It's kind of difficult to mount these, but it is what it is. They didn't really care in the 80s. It's also got another hole over here for something. I don't quite know what that is. Maybe an addressable one. I don't know if they made addressable versions of these. I would assume probably, but I don't know for sure. So yeah, this is probably one of the more interesting pull stations. You don't see these in buildings much at all. They're kind of rare to see in buildings and stuff. Kind of goofy design, to be honest with you. The big old press and pull deal. But I like it because it's unique. So, with that being said, that is all of my, what I'm going to call flip face pull stations. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.